If you're sick of back-breaking compost piles that demand turning perfectly balanced greens and browns, and heat that never seems to come, this might be the method your garden's been begging for. What if the very weeds you rip out every week could be quietly transformed into humus-rich, worm-attracting compost without needing to lift another fork or even generate heat? No turning, no smell, no precise ratios, just forgotten piles of invasive weeds breaking down into pure fertility right in your garden. Sound impossible? It's not. It's actually nature's default system, and when done right, it can outperform many hot compost methods in drought-prone, compacted, or lifeless soils. The best part? You already have the main ingredient rotting on the edges of your beds: weeds like crabgrass, purslane, and spurge. Let's walk through how this lazy, cold composting method works, why it's different, and how you can set one up today using weeds most gardeners would kill to get rid of. This isn't a shortcut that sacrifices results. So this is actually a simple way to work with the natural fungal and microbial processes that are already thriving under mulch and soil, especially if you're in a warm climate or you just want a low-maintenance garden. Most gardeners, end up throwing weeds away because they're worried about reseeding or spreading roots. But when you handle them properly, weeds are actually one of the most powerful compost materials for one key reason: they grow fast and, die soft. Plants like purslane, for example, are just loaded with water, minerals, and natural sugars. Spurge, lamb's quarters, crabgrass, these weeds have evolved to thrive in poor, disturbed soil. That means they accumulate nutrients quickly, especially calcium, phosphorus, and potassium, which can all be recycled back into your beds once the weeds break down. But instead of burning them in a hot pile or sending them off in green waste, you're going to trap their energy in place. That's the beauty of this method. You stack the weeds, cover them, and let fungi and moisture take over. Slowly the cell walls soften, microbes invade, and earthworms follow. No smoke, no ammonia smell, just slow fungal decomposition that builds dark, sweet-smelling humus and feeds your soil below. How to start your rotten weed pile the right way. The key to making this method work is containment and moisture. Start by gathering weeds after a rain or watering session. You want them damp but not dripping. Then choose your spot. This can be directly on a garden bed you want to enrich, or, just in a forgotten corner of the yard. Lay down a loose layer of weeds about a foot thick. You don't need to chop them up, but try to mix soft leafy weeds with tougher stalks to encourage airflow and fungal growth. Now here's where the magic happens. Cover the entire pile with cardboard, an old tarp, or even a thick layer of straw. This traps humidity and blocks sunlight, which prevents the weeds from rerooting or going to seed. If you're using cardboard, wet it thoroughly so it conforms to the pile and doesn't blow away. This top layer also protects the decomposing mass from drying out and helps fungi dominate the process rather than bacteria, which is exactly what you want for building stable humus. Within 2 weeks, you'll notice the weeds shrinking and darkening. By week 4, you'll start to smell a mild forest floor aroma. If you gently lift the cover, you may see white fungal threads working their way through the mass. This is exactly what you're aiming for. That white webbing is mycelium, your soil's underground digestive system, doing the real work of composting. No turning, no stirring, just patience. Unlike hot compost that requires churning and active management, this pile does best when left completely alone. The fungal decomposition thrives in still, damp conditions. If the weather is extremely dry, you can lightly water the pile once a week just to keep the humidity up. But beyond that, it's hands-off. Over time, the weed matter collapses into a dark, crumbly layer that smells just like healthy forest soil. This is your cold composted humus, loaded with stable carbon, slow-release minerals, and a microbial profile that supports root growth, worm activity, and water retention. Once your weed pile has shrunk and darkened, usually after 6 to 8 weeks, you can use it directly in your garden. If you placed it on top of a bed, just move the cardboard aside and plant directly into the rich black layer. This isn't new science, it's old wisdom, hiding in plain sight. Forests build soil this way. Fungi colonize fallen green matter and break it down slowly, building the humus layer that everything grows from. By letting weeds rot under cover, you're mimicking that natural system. It's the lazy gardener's gift to the soil, and it costs nothing but patience. If you found this method useful, make sure to subscribe to Soil Doctor. Share this guide with a fellow gardener, and let us know in the comments what happened when you tried your own rotten weed pile. There's a better way to compost, and it starts with what you're already pulling from your garden.